Well, look what just showed up. This is a Precision Matthews PM-30MV vertical milling machine. It's something that I ordered a while ago and I've been waiting for it to arrive. Finally did. Looks to be in pretty good shape, but I have to open it up and see if everything is undamaged. So let's do that. All right, I got the top off. Let's take a look, see if this thing's damaged at all. I don't see any noticeable damage. Everything seems to be okay so far. The handle's a little close to the crate, but I don't see any signs that it was, impacted at all on this side. So I think it's okay. You'll notice this is a scale for the digital readout that I had them install. All right, so the next step, I guess, is just to start tearing this crate apart and get a better look. Well, everything looks good so far. I don't see any glaringly obvious problems with it. No real shipping damage, which is definitely something I was concerned about. It's a little bit bigger than I thought it would be. It's kind of hard to get an idea of how big something is just from pictures or, of course I knew the dimensions, but I can see now that they weren't actually all that accurate. So this is the collet set that I bought. I believe this is the keyless ultra precision drill chuck. And I got the strap clamp set. It's a DRO display. And it comes with a box of tools, accessories, whatnot. I'll start going through and kind of cleaning it up and taking a look at things, make sure everything's okay. So this has an 8 by, I believe, 33-inch table. It runs on 220 at 20 amps and has a 2 horsepower DC variable drive or speed motor. So that's pretty cool. It'll go up to 3,000 RPM in high and 1,500 in low. It has the Quill DRO that's built into the machine. And of course I had them add the DRO for the X, Y, and Z. So all in all, I think I'm going to be really happy with this machine. I know the only regret that anybody buying a mill ever has is not buying a bigger one. But, I'm limited on space, and this is pretty much the biggest mill that I could fit into this garage reasonably well. And I know this is going to be strong enough for what I'm going to be doing. So I just finished making this mill stand. I think it turned out really cool looking. It's super rigid, and I made it out of materials that I had around the shop. So that was one of my goals. I didn't want to spend a bunch of money because I could have just bought the stand. So I figured if I was going to make one, I'd try to use what I already had. So this is the bottom of a rollaway toolbox, and it's not sitting on this rollaway at all. It is just encased with this 2-inch angle iron. So as a result, it's super rigid, and it also takes advantage of some of the structure of the rollaway. It prevents it from rocking or twisting. My original idea was just to make just to fabricate a stand, but then I'd have a bunch of dead space under the mill, and of course drawers are awesome for holding tools in, so this is what I did. And the top is made of an offcut of my kitchen island. This is a piece of 1.5-inch walnut butcher block, and it's super strong. And I put some polyurethane varnish on there, put a groove in here so that hopefully that'll prevent an end mill from rolling off the table. I'm sure that's bound to happen. What else did I do? I made these leveling feet because the ones that I bought were a little bit too flimsy. So what I ended up doing is just buying some 5/8 all thread and welding some nuts to them. And then I 3D printed these pads, which have some flats on them so that you can twist them. And this thing is super rigid. It's probably about 150 pounds by itself. So it definitely will not have any problems holding a 500-pound mill. This thing's incredibly strong. 500 pounds is nothing to this thing. So
moving the mill was a bit of a challenge because the legs on my engine hoist didn't open wide enough to straddle either the pallet that the mill was delivered on or the stand that I made. We ended up just building a small platform to slide the mill onto, and then we picked it up from there. We could then move the mill over to the stand, and like I said, the engine hoist legs couldn't straddle the stand either, so we had to slide the wooden top over, set the mill onto that, and then move them both over onto the stand.
Here. How about now? Oh, it's looking pretty good. Alright, now it's going to come out about 2 inches towards us. Alright, well, it's finally on the stand. Took about 4 or 5 hours. It wasn't too bad. Had to get a little bit creative with how we slid it off the pallet and put the engine hoist over the stand, but we got it. Unfortunately, I had help from my dad, so that made it a lot easier. Now all I have to do is spend a couple hours cleaning this up. This is just rust preventative here, so WD-40 cuts right through that, and that'll allow me to remove it. You can use acetone too, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use WD-40. Well, look at that. No more yellow. That took about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to clean it all up. I oiled the ways, and now I'm tramming up the head. It's looking pretty good. I don't think this is the ideal setup, but I've never done this before, so this is what I have to work with. So what I did is, got these 1, 2, 3 blocks here. I zeroed the dial test indicator. And I also zeroed the quilled DRO so that I can come up. So I don't know why that quill sticks, but come up at 100 thousandths. Give this some clearance. Move it over to the other one. And then come down back to 0. There we go. 0. And at about a 1/2 thousandths. So this is 18 inches. I'm pretty pleased with that. So now I gotta slap on the vise and indicate that in. So this is an old Kurt vise that I got at a garage sale for 40 bucks. I believe this is a D80-1. It's a 6-inch vise. And I spent a couple days restoring this. It was really rusty, and well, it wasn't so much rusty, but it was just really grimy. And I went through every bit of it, cleaned it up, painted it with this nice Hammerite paint. It looks like $1 million now. So that's what I'm going to be using. It's a little big for this mill, but it should be all right for now. I mean, the price was right. It was 40 bucks. Okay, the vise is mounted and indicated. That's looking pretty good. It's within about a 1/2 thousandth, so pretty happy with that. Let's take a look here. So I'll move the Y, zero this indicator. All right. Lock down the Y, which is going to move it just a little bit. Moved it just a tiny bit, a couple tenths. All right. go. Pretty much dead on. Sweet.
I know this is a lot different from the way I normally make videos, but I wanted to share the whole process with you. And maybe it'll help someone out there who's thinking about buying a machine like this. Tomorrow I'm posting a video that'll show how I machined one of my castings using this machine. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.